So I'm going to be hosting this today by myself. Usually I have a co-host on here with me, but I've got some questions coming in that I wanted to answer personally. And so I've got some questions that were sent in ahead of time to us by email. I'll be reading some of those out, and then I'll be looking at your questions there in the question box as well. First of all, just a little bit about me. Those of you who've never been on a webinar may not know that I am an author. You'll see these two books here on Amazon.com and Barnes and Nobles, and you can actually purchase these books. They're about $14.95 a piece, I think. And the one on the left is one that I wrote a few years back on how to reprogram yourself for success. And then there's one on the right there that is a marketing tool for our licensees. Yes, we developed marketing tools from our 21 years of experience in this business on teaching people how to actually go out and sign up the doctors. That's the hardest part about this business, as is on any business that you're starting, how to get clients. So we've given you many, many tools to do that, including this one. Oh, here's one from Suk. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Suk with the letter B at the end there, last initial. How safe and reliable is the cloud? Well, folks, a few years back when you mentioned the cloud to people or the fact that you had everything online, they were wondering about the security of the data and so forth. But folks, let me just put it this way. We use the same technology that all the big investment firms, the banks all use this. The government uses the same technology that we use to protect our data. Now, does that mean it's 1,000% safe? No, because you've heard of some breaches out there on the internet, right? All I can say is that for 20 years, we've had no breaches. So that's all we can say is that we are 100% safe so far. All the data is secure. And it's also guaranteed by the government itself, because the government has a thing called HIPAA. You've probably signed a HIPAA release. That's the health insurance protection plan that's out there that protects the data of all the patients. It's a protection of the patient data. And that is approved. So we are a HIPAA compliant, cloud-based system as well. So I hope that answered that question. Let's see. Here's one from, I got to get rid of the ones that's talking about people where they were from here. Here's Angela. She's in Northfield, somewhere there. Tina's in Temple, Texas, and so forth. Zach is in Kansas. Okay, I read some of those. All right, I'm going to get rid of those so I can get to the questions here. All right. So here's a good question. Mickey says, what percentage of licensees hire a salesperson to help them get their first client to grow the business? Great question, Mickey. Now, some of you who've not investigated our business completely may not realize that part of our training is on marketing. In fact, a good section of our week is on marketing, because folks, here's what it boils down to in any business. If I told you that you were going to have a client the very moment you got back home from our training, you would learn everything there is to know about our system pretty quickly, right? We have online training as well as the live workshop with hours of training on there that you can take 24/7 right from your own computer, right? So you'll learn how to do the actual details of the medical billing. It's not brain surgery. Ha, that's a pun. It's not brain surgery, but you may be billing for a brain surgeon. And all I can assure you is that the technical side of any business is the easiest part of learning the business. Anybody here can learn how to do medical billing. Most of our people who come through our training never had any background whatsoever in the medical field, much less the billing side. And yet they go out and they find clients and they start doing the billing. So what is the hardest part? I referred to it a while ago. It's finding those clients, right? Getting your first client that actually starts paying you for doing the billing. So the question has to do with hiring salespeople. I got into this because we teach about a dozen different ways to go out and find clients, ways that we've proven work over the last 20 years. I mean, folks, when I was out there, 1987, when my wife started doing the billing, I gotten involved with her a couple years later. But when I went out there weren't many ways. Nobody was teaching me how to go out and find clients. I had to figure that out on my own. And then over the last 20 years, we've developed all these different ways by working with our licensees who've shared some things that work for them. So these are not just theory. This is not just book learning. This is real life experience in the field getting clients. One of them, for those of you who don't have any inclination whatsoever on doing any marketing yourself, is what we call our sales rep program. Now, we'll teach you how to find people who are willing to go out and get clients for you working on a straight commission. Yes, we tell you how to find them, interview them, hire them, how to pay them, how to train them, and all of that's covered in our training for our licensees. Let me tell you how successful that is. I just did an interview this week with a licensee who just got a client in a different state, by the way, from where he's in, because he hired a sales rep, and we'll teach you how to do this. You can find sales reps in any city in the United States. And when you go out and find that sales rep, they bring you clients, and they hooked him up. This sales rep hooked this new licensee up, who just went through training the last part of last year, with a doctor group that's going to do 6 to 10 million in billing this year. That's right. And now you'll learn about the pricing and how we did that. But let me just put it this way. This guy is going to make about $300,000 off of this one client. Now, if that sounds too good to be true, we'll be posting that interview within the next week right there on our blog on our website. Go to our website, absystems.com. Go up the top under news. There's a choice there called blog. And we'll post that interview. You'll actually hear this new licensee talk about that client on that. Now, I went through all that to answer this question here from Mickey about what percentage use live the sales reps. Mickey, we don't have any real way to measure that. Remember, this is not a franchise, so nobody reports anything back to us unless they want to. Now, our interaction, though, with licensees through our support department tells us that we've got about 10 to 15% of the licensees who've actually gone out, hired sales reps, and those sales reps have brought them clients. Now, we always have new licensees coming through and using the sales rep program, so we don't have any real data that I can share with you other than our responses from licensees as they contact us in the support department. But I hope that answers your question. That was a long answer, wasn't it? Okay, and okay, Soup, thank you. As she says, that's the way you say that name. All right, could be a he, I'm not sure. Do you ever have licensees? Now, this is from Astrid. Astrid says, do you ever have licensees come to training, then go home and be unable to get clients? Well, let me answer that this way. When people ask us what our failure rate is, and you'd be surprised how many people want to know that versus our success rate, I guess because they think of themselves as maybe not being successful in some other stuff, so they're wondering if they can be successful in this. But anyway, the failure rate in this, folks, is 100%. That's right. The failure rate amongst the people who come through our training is 100% if they go back and do one of two things. Either try things on their own, like reinvent the wheel, not following our system that we teach them, or they put it on the shelf for some reason. Now, believe it or not, that happens. I have had people purchase our license, come to training, and then life happens. Things come up. New investment opportunities. Somebody gets a divorce. Somebody has to move. Somebody has a wedding come up, and they have to put this off for sometimes months at a time. You'll hear interviews that I've done with licensees saying that they did not get a client for a year or more. Now, how's that possible? It's because life happens and other things happen. But we can assure you that with our coaching program that we have for licensees, there is no licensee that has any excuse for not going out and finding a client. Look, all you have to do is find one, because doctors, they all know one another. They go to the same clubs, country clubs. They go to the same churches or synagogues. They are in the same, clique, and they basically know one another. They're at the hospitals and in the doctor's offices. So when you find your first client, then all there is to do is to treat that client correctly and ask for referrals like we will teach you to do. If you do that, your business can grow, folks, and you'll never have to do any marketing after the first doctor. Does that make sense? Listen to some of the interviews on our blog that I've done in the past. There's dozens of them on there, and you'll see that that's exactly what those licensees have told us, that they didn't have to do a thing other than do what we told them to do to get the first client. And then after that, it was all downhill from there. Okay, let's see. This is from Yua. I'm hoping I'm probably not saying that right. Says, can one licensee outbid another licensee? How do you ensure fairness? I've never had that question asked, believe it or not, on one of these live questions and answers. So how do we deal with the fact that we have some licensees in some of our major metropolitan areas especially that never have to worry about competing with other licensees? It's because this market is way too big. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm going to mute myself here while I cough. I told you it was live. It's because in a particular area, let's take the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we probably have a dozen licensees right here. Now, how is it that they don't have to worry about bidding one another or competing with one another? Because, folks, we live in America. This is the free enterprise system. You have the right to go after any client you want to. In all these years, we've never had two licensees in one area let us know that they were competing against another licensee. It just doesn't happen because, well, do some research on our website. Under something up there, I think it's under the income tab, like how much can you make? It will show you a little way to look up the doctors in your area. And you will be amazed, folks, at how many doctors there are out there in your area. You know what? I think what I'm going to do, since this is a live webinar, is we might as well just take a look at that. Wouldn't that be a good thing to do live here? All right, we're going to try it. Hopefully technology doesn't fail me here, but I'm going to go to our website, and you're going to see it here in a second. I haven't turned on the screen here. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to turn it on right now. So you should be seeing it here in just a second. Yep, there it is. And as you can see, under income potential at the top here, let me enlarge this. I know that's kind of hard to see. I have a way to enlarge the image. Let me zoom in there so you can see that good. Okay, see right here under income potential, there's a find doctors in my area, okay? So let's just put in, well, our zip code right here, 76248. Actually, it's 44 where our office is located. I'm in my home office right now. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but I'm working from home and mine's 48. So let's see the results here. When we click the button, see the results, you'll notice it takes us to a Google map, or at least part of one here on the screen. Now, if there's a button up here called View Larger Map, so I'm going to do that. As you can see, it zooms in here and lets us see. I think I clicked something there that I shouldn't have clicked. Let me go back one there. Or maybe I just zoomed in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there's the DFW area. Sorry, that's zooming in and out on your screen there, kind of delayed, but and it's probably real tiny. I don't know if those are showing up now. Yeah, there we go. All right, you see all the little red dots? Those are the medical providers right here in our area. And there's just dozens and dozens and dozens of them, folks, because there's all kinds of specialties that you can do billing for. So our licensees just don't run across one another, and that is not a problem out there in the marketplace. So I'm going to pause that just for a second. Oh, by the way, let me go back here. I think this has opened up a different window. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to close that window and show you that when I go back on our website, right after we typed in the zip code, you'll notice over here on the left side now, these are the medical providers. These are the types of providers that you might want to market to. So if you're even wondering if there's how many dermatologists are, how many pediatricians are there, just type, just click on one of those, and it will take you to a map that shows you where those are located and how many of those that there are. Now this is kind of zoomed in, so I'm going to zoom back out there so you can see that. There we go. Anyway, play around with that tool on our website. I think you'll like what you see there when you see how many licensees there really are out there. Okay, I got to get back to the slides here some way and put that back up on the screen. Okay. Well, let's see. That was you. And now here's another one from George. George says, does your system provide electronic medical record function or just billing and collections? Well, George, that is a great question. And you know what I'm going to do? I am going to pause the screen again, and I'm going to try to get back here to the website. And what I'm going to show you is how you can find out more about that, because we do have a great way of doing electronic health records, it's called. And so I'm going to put that back on the screen here, and you can see And by the way, our virtual brochure will actually show you a little demo of this. You can set up a live demo to see this too. But right here under the business package, what is included, you'll see that there's a lot there about the different services that we offer. So here is the first one coming up. This is the electronic medical claims filing system. We call it iClaim. And then here's about the electronic medical records. Now, George, since you seem to know a little bit about this, I'm going to explain to other people that this is something that the government is requiring doctors to get into, or they're going to be penalized through their Medicare payments. That's right. They'll be receiving deductions from their payments if they don't get into an electronic medical record system. So ours, EMRX, is built into our system. It's not just two different companies that have integrated something. This is our system built in to the billing and claims filing system. So what happens is the doctor, as you can see showing there in the illustration, can use their iPad in front of their patient to put the data in. And behind the scenes, it's into the billing system, so you don't have to put any of that data in. It's already there. And all you're going to do is put in the codes that the doctor tells you to put in and push a button and file the claims electronically. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, it's all totally built in there together, George. Okay, let's see. This is from Michelle. Per the iClaim system, our systems in general, are ABS licensees the only individuals who use the system? Yes, this is private labeled for us. This is technology that's just for ABS licensees, Michelle. And I have seen another form of iClaim outside of ABS. There shouldn't be any other iClaim system that is our system. Now, maybe somebody else has come up with a name that's something similar to ours that's out there, Michelle, but no, nobody outside the ABS licensee network can utilize iClaim. All right, let's see. I'm going to go to Thomas's question here. Hi, Patrick. Who do you bill, people or insurance companies? This is primarily for the insurance companies and Medicare and Medicaid, Thomas. So in other words, you're going to do the billing for the doctor, but it's going to be to the insurance companies because most people have insurance. Now, for those who don't have insurance, our system in the iClaim system is all built in there so that you can bill the patients as well. You literally push a button and whatever the patients owe, statements go out behind the scenes. You're not having to lick stamps or fold things, put them in envelopes. This is all done by our system behind the scenes. So those statements go out and are mailed directly to the doctor's patients. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here's a question from Michelle. I'm not sure if I understand part of this. What other companies outside of medical V-bulletin providers can self-pay be used for? Michelle, I am sorry. That question doesn't ring a bell with me at all as to what you're saying there. You obviously are in medical billing or know a lot about it, and maybe that V-bulletin is something I should know about. But remember, I'm the CEO. I do have people who probably know the answer to that question, so I'm going to pass that on to them. Deidre says, how do you charge the doctor? Okay, so let's talk about the costs that you're going to pass on to the doctor, okay? Because somewhere down the line, you have to get paid, right? So here's how you charge the doctor. Now, remember, these are generic terms I'm using, but nationwide, this is true. You normally charge on the amount of money that you're collecting for the doctor. Let's say you bill $100,000, and with our system, there's only a 2% rejection rate, so you'd collect $98,000. You're going to charge a percentage of that to the doctor. Now, how does he know that you've actually collected that? Because it's an online system that you can give the doctor access to with his or her own login to the system to actually see the status of the claims and what was collected in a 30-day period. You put in the date range and a report, and all of a sudden there it's going to show him exactly how much money you collected for him. Well, guess what? You're going to charge anywhere from 5 to 8%. That's the nationwide average for medical billing. Now, there are some cases where you might charge less than that. There are some cases where you might charge more than that, but that's what you have us for. With 20 years experience, if you pass your proposals by our support department, we'll give you guidance on what we think you ought to propose to the doctor. And I've had licensees propose what we suggested, maybe it's 8%, and the doctor says, well, I'll let you do it if you do it for 7%. They still make a lot of money on that. So it can be negotiable there, of course, but that's how you charge them. And the way you get paid, by the way, is you simply are sending out a statement to the doctor and they are paying from that statement. Now, there are licensees, though, in their contracts. We have the wording that you can use for this, and we'll show you how to do this, where you set it up to where you don't actually send out a statement. You debit the doctor's credit card for the charges, and you might send a statement by email that just says, okay, by the way, if you don't dispute the number that I show you right here, we're going to be taking this out of your credit card or directly out of their bank account. There's a way to do that too. Yeah, you just get with the doctor's bank and present a form that we have that the doctor signed that says, yeah, you can debit their bank account as well. So anyway, that's how you get paid. Most licensees are doing that once a month. I'd say probably maybe even half of them are doing it twice a month, every other week. Yeah. All right, let's see. Mickey says, how many licensees do you have? All right, that's an interesting question, Mickey. So let me answer it this way. Remember, we've been in business for 20 years, so we've sold a lot of licenses. However, we have not sold the same package with the same software and technology and all the auxiliary services and the lifetime support. That's changed over the years, you see, because we've had different products that we're always adding new things and we're coming up with different things. If I find a different billing system that's better than the one we currently use, guess what? We go out and work with technology people to develop the things that we want. And so we'll switch from time to time. So when you ask how many licensees we have, remember, we're not a franchise. There's no reporting. So we can tell you that we've sold over 1,500 licenses. That doesn't mean there are that many people out there marketing the exact same thing, because sometimes people go through our training and they're using our systems and so forth, and then they build their own thing outside of ABS. Maybe they switch to a different system. We have no control over that, folks. You are really, truly independent business owners. You can do anything you want. And so the point is that if you ask me how many actual licensees are using our current system that have all the different things that we've offered, probably in the last 6 or 7 years, then it's only about 400 or 500 people nationwide. Some people, of course, have gone on and sold their business to somebody else, and others, of course, have gone over and maybe they partnered with somebody else and built their business even bigger than what we thought it was. So again, without that reporting back from people, we really don't know how many active licensees we have out there. But we do see the doctors that they're signing up on our current cloud-based system. We can see and tell how many doctors are signing up. And I can tell you right now, it's averaging about a doctor a day. And so there's lots of doctors being signed up from our licensees out there. But, compared to the number of doctors that are out there, it's very small, believe me. Okay, these are great questions, guys. I'm loving this. So here is, okay, Michelle says, per identifying the target, what is ideal client to target? Oh, well, then what you're asking, Michelle, is basically out of the, 6 dozen different specialties that are out there, which one should you target? And you know what? I just happen to have a slide that I had ready. If something like that was asked, let me see if I can get to it here. Okay. So I'm going to show you some medical specialties here on the screen. Now, remember, in our live training, we go through this in detail, but look at the number of medical specialties. Folks, this is screen 1. Now I'm going to go to the next screen so you'll see it change. Look at the first one's allergy, right? Now I'm going to the next screen. Hepatology is one of them there. And there's a whole bunch of others. All right. Some of these I know what they are. Some of them I don't. I don't even know if I know how to pronounce some of them. Here's the next screen. Starts with gynecology. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of other specialties on this screen. Here's the next screen. Chemical pathology is the first one on this screen. So, folks, as you can see, there are a lot of specialties out there. Now, the question is, how do we know who to target? Well, we know that you should be targeting the people who have the largest amount of billing, right? And we know who those specialties are. Again, on this webinar, I can't go into detail on those things because I'd have to go through every one of these and explain why it is that we recommend one of these specialties over the others. But let's just take an example here. Let's go back and let's see if we can find one here that, okay, surgical oncology. There you go. See it right here? Surgical oncology. Now that's one that is really high billing. Why? Because oncology doctors dealing with cancer and so forth, they do a lot of surgeries, and those surgeries are very expensive. So we know that that is a doctor that does a lot of billing and that's very high. When we get back to some of the specialties that you see here, let me see if I can go find one here that would be a better example of what one that you might not want to go after. I don't know. Let's talk about. Ooh, all of these are pretty good, actually. Oh, sorry, I went back to another slide. Okay, well, here we go. Spinal cord injury. Now, again, I have no idea. Really, I've never heard of a licensee that's actually billing for a spinal cord injury doctor, but I would assume that that one would have some high billing as well. Child neurology, there it is on the right side there, third one from the top. I don't know that that one would have a whole lot because it's a real specialty there. So again, we go through that in detail in training. We have about a dozen that we talk about, and are good target doctors to start out with, without going into detail on that. Okay, let's see. Suk says, do you recommend starting with a smaller business or a major corporation? Now, by smaller business, I'm assuming that you mean like a partnership or a single sole ownership, yourself, in other words. We tell people, look, it's better just to start out as small as you can. And as you can afford to incorporate or grow or set up some larger entity, it's better just to start out very simply. Sometimes you just register your company name with your state, with your county, and get a DBA, doing business as, under your own personal name. And you would, be Acme Medical Solutions or something like that, a DBA. So you can get all that done fairly inexpensively, and that's the way we recommend most people. Now, having said that, I actually pay for an attorney to show up at our training, live workshop training, and actually have a consultation with each person in that class at no cost or obligation to discuss what's the best situation for you. So we can give you some guidance on that there in the live training. When is your next training session? Asked Beatrice. And that is June 1st. That's a Monday, and it goes through Friday of that week. June 1st is the next one coming up. We skipped May completely, and so that just happens to fall in our schedule that June 1st is the next one. Okay. Maybe, Beatrice, you may be asking when's the next one after that one, and I'm sorry, I do not know that date. I'm pretty sure there's one in July, though. So you probably ought to check with your ABS rep. Whoever sent you the email for this, just email them back and ask that question if you want to know the training after this one. Okay, here's Christopher. If a doctor already has an EMR system, electronic medical records, remembers what that stands for, and why would they change to EMRX? And how hard is it to transfer information between systems? Great question, Christopher. First of all, let me address the first part of that. If a doctor already has an EMR system, why would they change to EMRX? That's our electronic medical record system. Well, you'd have to see the demo of our system to understand how pathetic, really, some of the systems are out there. Do you know that 30% of all doctors who've implemented an EMR system in their office are looking actively for a different system? Why? Because a lot of companies developed things in the early days because they thought this was a new gold mine, and they went out and sold these overpriced electronic medical record systems to doctors, and it wasn't solid. Didn't have all of the different, they couldn't meet the meaningful use guidelines, and so a lot of businesses have gone out of business. Now, remember, we've been doing this for 20 years. Our system is pretty solid, and since it was developed by two doctors, it's always compliant and up to date. And when the doctors see the demo, that, by the way, I haven't even mentioned this, but those of you who've not been on other webinars, we, ABS, and our technology gurus behind the scenes, they do the demos of the system using something like GoToWebinar here. We get online with the doctor at their office. You can be at your office or there with the doctor or whatever, and we do the demo. We show them the system live over the internet exactly as it would be used by the doctor. And here's what you hear the most. During those demos, you'll hear doctors saying things like this to their other people in the office. Wow, did you see that? Man, That's something we've always needed. I mean, it's just incredible the difference between what they have now and what we have. So, Christopher, all I can tell you is get with your ABS rep and say, I want to see that demo for myself. Not only will you see the technology that you'll be using in the billing side, but you'll see the electronic medical record side that the doctor will be using, and you'll see why doctors switch. Okay, how hard is it to transfer patient information between systems? We do have an interface. There is a standard out there, Christopher, called HL7. That's Health Level 7. And that's just a standard language, I guess you could say, that all these systems can interface with. And if they have an HL system, a compatible system, which they probably do, most of them are, then we can interchange that data with them. So yes, we can import the data into our system. Okay, let's see. Deidre says, how much do you charge the doctor for your services? We mentioned a little bit earlier, Deidre, you probably typed that in before I answered that, but it's anywhere from it's anywhere from 5 to 8%. That's the range we recommend our licensees charge that are out there. And it also says, is it a percentage of the base? It's a percentage of the money actually collected. And remember, our system knows the money that's actually collected for the doctor. And okay, so there you go. Listen, I recommend that you guys also get with your ABS rep and ask for a reference list. Now, we want you to do some research on your own on our websites to make sure you understand our business completely before you call references. But we've got licensees from coast to coast that will take calls and answer these questions. Ask them what they're charging their doctors, and you'll get a better feel for that. That's probably the best way to do it. Okay, George says, will you help the doctors take advantage of meaningful use? Yes, sadly, the meaningful use guidelines, we are compliant with all that, but sometimes the doctors are not knowing how to comply with that, George, and so we do help with that as well. Suk says, are there methods of financing available for those wanting to start this business but don't have the money in lump sum? Yes, there are ways, even on our website, that you can find out more about financing. And you can also ask your ABS rep for some real specific details about that. But look on our website there. Gosh, I'm not sure exactly where that's at. Let me go take a look here and see if I can just find that right quick. Yes, it's here under what is included, I'm pretty sure. Let me go there first and I'll how much does it cost? There it is right there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I got there. Let me put that up on the screen there so you can see it. All right, so I went to business package up here at the top. How much does it cost? That's the second item right here. And it's also over here on the side. And as you can see, there is a whole page on funding resources. So be sure and check that out, Suk, and you'll find out more about how that works. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Michelle, you're asking about choice pay. Okay. Per choice pay, what other businesses can one target outside of medical practices? Great question. I'm going to show you what she's talking about here. Look, I'm going back to our website under business packages, and then right here, you can see there's what is included, and I'm going to scroll down to show you what she's talking about. Here it is right here. This is the patient payment plan. Choice pay can actually allow the patients to choose how they want to pay out their bill to the doctor. It can also be used for other industries outside of the medical field, as can another service called Quick Collect. Look, go to any strip mall anywhere in the country, go into any business and say, do you have any past due invoices that you'd like collected? We do that for you. Well, folks, we're not a collection agency. This is not a collection agency, Quick Collect, but you'll be able to offer this to medical businesses and businesses outside the medical field, any business that has past due invoices, and make money on that. We do all the work. It's a completely online automated system that's set up for the business owner or the doctor. And all you do is administer that system. There's never any calling or anything. Guys, this is completely automated, but we collect 41% of all the money that's turned over to us. That's unheard of. Collection agencies don't collect but about 14% of the money that's turned over to a collection agency. So it's a great way to make a residual income. I've had licensees go out and offer quick collect to businesses, and that's primarily how they got their cash flow started until they could find a doctor to do the billing for. So anyway, thanks for clarifying that, Michelle. Okay, here is a question from Beatrice. Could this system work with veterinary doctors? Unfortunately, no. Here's the way to think about this. Our billing system can be used for any doctor in any field that bills for human beings, insurance companies, and Medicare. Okay, human beings, that's the key word there. And they have to be filing on a special form, which is the standard form for all Medicare filing, called the 1500 form. Just do a Google search for CMS 1500 form. Yeah, and you'll see what that is. In fact, I'll just do it right here, and I'll see if it comes up. CMS 1500 form. And there they are. Okay, in fact, I'm going to go to images here. This is just on, I use Bing for my searches, but as you can see, that's what that form looks like. It's a standard form the government came up with years ago, and all doctors use it. I'll see if I can zoom in on one. There you go. So folks, what you're looking at right there is the form that if a doctor or a medical provider of any kind, a durable medical equipment company, ambulance company, anybody who provides medical services, if they file on this form right now, either on paper or electronically, you can do their billing. That's just a standard form. And look, it's not difficult. How long would it take you to figure out what there's a section for the patient information, the insurance information, and what the doctor did for the patient, and all that's explained, of course, in our training. So I just wanted to kind of show you that while we were talking about it. Rhodey is our licensing director, and she's the one that handles all the paperwork when you decide that you want to come down to training. So she'll guide you step by step through that process of getting your funding done and your paperwork signed and reservations at the hotel and so forth. So anyway, I just like showing her face. She's our director of smiles. George says, can you describe the profile of a typical client? I don't know that there is a typical profile of a doctor, George. If maybe you can kind of clarify that for me, maybe I can come back to that. Because there is no typical doctor out there. Some doctors are going to have a small number of claims, a small volume, dollar volume, and others are going to have a large volume of claims. Our licensees, as we talk to them, they have a whole range of sizes. I mentioned the guy earlier that's doing that'll do 6 to 10 million a year. That organization is a group of doctors. There is another licensee that I did an interview with this week that I'll also post hers here within the next week or two. Tracy Clark. She is a mom of 5 children, raising them. Her husband's overseas, and she just signed up a client a few months back that has $300,000 a month in billing at 5%. So figure that out. It's a lot of money that should be making off that one client. So they just cover that whole range. Isaac says, how many of your licensees use the latest software as opposed to older software? Well, as I mentioned earlier, Isaac, the system we currently have, iClaim, is probably being used by about 500 of our licensees total out there, because it was only offered, a few years back. And so we've just gotten, about 5 years ago, we started offering it. So there's probably 500 that are using the current. Now, when you say older software, though, remember, we never shut down any software that we introduced to our licensees. We've got licensees using the very first software that we issued probably 21 years ago. They're still using it, and they can still get updates to that software. So nothing is ever old. We'll always continue to support all of our software. It's just that when we find something new, we're going to introduce it. Here's one from Astrid. When you develop new technology, is it offered to current licensees? I heard you have a lot of interesting things in the pipeline. Astrid, the answer is yes. When we develop new technology, it is offered to the current licensees always. And usually there's no upgrade cost or switchover price or anything. Sometimes if they're switching from one system to another and they need to transfer the data from one doctor to a new system, there is a fee for doing that transfer or import. But we never charge the licensees anything for the new technology because it's just new technology to us, and there's no, new charges for the licensees. In other words, we really truly have what's called a one-time, lifetime licensing fee. Yeah, it's $24,990, as those of you who've looked at the website know, and that is a one-time fee, folks. We are not going to charge you nickel and dime you on the back end. In fact, we make money on the services that you offer to doctors on the back end. So there's no need to charge you anything extra for that new technology. And yes, Astrid, we do have some great new services that we're working on right now. I've made the mistake before of telling people about new stuff that's coming down the line, and I tell them just enough to get them excited about it. Then they start, bombarding our support department with questions about it, and it's not released yet. So my support department has been taught to say, I know nothing. I do not know what you're talking about. So I can't tell you about some of those things right now, but maybe your ABS rep will kind of hint at some of those things. Okay. Let's see. US says, do we market ourselves as American Business Systems, or can we market under our own business name using American Business Systems? The answer is you do set up your own company name. We'll show you how to do that if you've never done that before. It's pretty simple. We'll show you how to pick a name. By the way, part of our training class is there's some words in names you shouldn't use. Anyway, we give you some details about that. A name of a company is very important. So we'll show you how to do that. We'll show you how to find that on the internet to register your domain name, www. whatever your email name, website name is. And we'll guide you through that step by step. So you can say on your literature, if you want to, a member of the American Business Systems Network, because we are the largest network of independent medical billing companies out there in the United States. It's just that doctors may not recognize that name, and they really don't care about that. They care about you. And so that's why you will market under your company name, not ours. Suk says, how many clients change to our system from what they are using and why? Again, Suk, I can't give you exact numbers on that as to how many, but we do have a lot of doctors who will switch. We had one doctor who had just paid $1,500 to get involved with an electronic medical record system, and he waived that. He just wrote that off because when he saw the demo of ours, he was so impressed. He said, there's no way I'm going to go forward on that other one, and he just went ahead with ours. We showed him how he would save way more than $1,500 by using our system because it has technology that's up to date, cutting edge. It checks for errors, and it scrubs the claims and all that. So I can't give you a number on that, but they do change primarily because when they see the demo that we do for the doctor and for you, when they see that, Suk, they realize that no matter what they've invested in another system, no matter what it costs to move the data from that system into our system, they will be saving much more than that and bringing in much more than they do with the other systems. Again, ask your ABS rep to see that demo, and you'll see why that's all true. All right, let's see. Zach says, is the live training set for one seat only? Yes, the licensing fee, Zach, the $24,990, is for one person to come to our training. You can see from the pictures here on the screen that the classroom is limited to about 20 seats. There's 20 seats in there that we can fill. And so they're very valuable. But it's you go on to say, if so, can an additional seat be purchased or requested for a business partner to also attend? The answer to that is yes, if there are seats available. Now, we usually know that somewhere around 2 weeks prior to a training as to whether we're going to have extra seats in there that we can sell. And when we do, that's an additional $995 for that additional person. That's all. In other words, about $1,000. That covers all of the meals during the week and the giveaways. You'll see we give away a lot of materials and books and things during the week. That includes all that. George says, I'm curious as to why it's faster to collect using ABS systems versus the doctor's office billing themselves if they have similar technology. Well, George, let's step back and think about this. First of all, when you approach doctors, all doctors are billing now, right? Somebody's billing for them, either their own staff using their own system, or they've outsourced their billing to a company already. Why is it that our licensees are signing up doctors every day? It's because when they see the advantages of what we have over the competition, including their own staff and their own system that they currently have, it's a no brainer. So we teach you how to do what's called educational marketing. We have tools like that book I showed you earlier on Cash Crunch to Cash Flow that shows the doctor the advantages of going with an ABS licensee and using our technology to collect. Look, our rejection rate, as I mentioned earlier, is less than 2%. The system they're using in most doctors' offices probably has a 30% rejection rate. Now, think about that for a moment. The rejections are at 30%. The staff is too busy to probably even pay any attention. They write that off. Wouldn't the doctor rather have 30% more income, or in this case, 28% more income? Yes, of course they would. So that's why doctors will switch and why they are wanting to sign up with our licensees. Okay, Mickey says one of the things I liked most from the demo was how iClaim and EMRX integrate. Oh, well, good, Mickey. I guess you've already seen the demo. Terrific. Does the iClaim system integrate with other EMR systems if the doctor chooses to stay with their own current EMR? Yes, we can do some integration between our billing system and the EMR system that a doctor currently uses, depending on whether it's HL7 compliant. And it's always an individual thing because there's a lot of systems out there that maybe they're brand new on the market. They came out last month and we don't know about them. We would have to know behind the scenes if that can be integrated. We can find that out though. And so, yes, we have licensees signing up doctors that we integrate that with. Isaac says, how much extra is choice pay or quick collect for the doctor? Well, actually, Isaac, when it comes right down to it, it doesn't cost them anything because we collect more money than they're now collecting. So even though there is a cost involved in it, it would be too involved for me to go into either one of those services right now. But it's a very small fee to collect for the quick collect, for example. That service, we're going to charge as little as 5% of the money actually collected for the doctor. So there is a fee, but hey, that's money, lost money anyway, right? Lost revenue for the doctor. So it doesn't really cost him anything. It makes him more money than he's making now. So when you figure it that way, it's kind of like if I offered you a dollar bill and I told you it was going to cost you a quarter. Would you give me a quarter? And how often would you do that? Michelle says, many thanks for the quick collect information. Can we bundle the services in retrospect to the setup fee? Yes, Michelle, all those extra services that we have out there on the website. When you prepare your proposal, our proposal is a template. It's a Word document that's templated and has all the services in there. You can delete the services that you don't think would fit that doctor or that doctor would be interested in. You just take it out of there. But generally speaking, yes, all of those services are wrapped into one setup fee for the doctor. And believe me, we've had licensees charge $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 setup fees. Yeah, the guy I interviewed that I keep telling you about, his name's Lonnie Washington, by the way. If you see that interview out on our website, you'll see Lonnie. He didn't say it on the webinar, but he sent me an email that told me that he charged $12,000 for a setup fee. Yeah, so that's all yours, by the way. We don't get any of that. Christopher says, have any of your licensees been successful doing trade show marketing? Yes, absolutely. We've got some licensees that rave about it. In fact, one of our licensees is a medical doctor. Yes, she's a medical doctor down in San Antonio, and she got into our business. Her very first client was through a trade show up here in Dallas that she borrowed our booth that we have designed already for you to borrow, and she took that to the trade show and got her first doctor. All right, let's see. Dev, I haven't seen a question from Dev yet. Here it is. I have a full-time job. I want to do ABS full-time. I've heard that it might take 3 to 6 months to get a client. I want to keep my full-time job and do ABS part-time until my business picks up to a point where I can say bye-bye to my job. How can I market to get my clients with my full-time job? Now, Dev, let me say this. We have different licensees that I pay to come down and do the training. The young lady you see right there on the upper right side of this screen, I think y'all are looking at that. Yeah, there it is right there. This is a lady who's actually doing our training right now. Prior to her, about a year ago, I had another lady that was doing my training that was working a 50-hour a week job. And she figured out how to do this completely part-time and built a very successful billing company uh, from the part-time, the way we teach it. Now, there is a way to do this, believe it or not. I know you find it hard to believe because you're thinking, okay, doctors are there Monday through Friday. I work Monday through Friday, same hours the doctors are open. There is a way to build your business outside of the regular, quote, business hours that are out there, Dev. And in fact, again, I'm going back to Lonnie Washington, who I just interviewed. He will tell you, you'll hear him say on the interview that he built this business completely part time while working a full time job in banking. Yeah. And believe it or not, they don't have banker's hours in banking anymore. So, yes, you can build this. Now, Dev, is it going to be as quick as somebody who's full time? No. So, you have to look at this as a long time plan on your part to build a business for you and your family that's there when you do get ready to hand in your resignation or when the pink slip comes that you're not expecting, right? That happens a lot nowadays. So, folks, I encourage all of you, get some business started right now while you're full time employed so that you have a way to transition into that. Dev, let's say it takes you 3 to 6 months to get a client. So what? I tell people, look, for the type of money that this business can earn you, it doesn't matter if it takes you 2 years because it's a very solid business. It's not a fad. It's not based on, something that's going to come and go. As long as there's people, as long as people get sick, as long as there's doctors, there will always be somebody you have to bill to get the doctor paid. So it's a very solid business. It'll be around a long time, no matter how long it takes you to get that first client. Marnisha says, do you have to be a medical biller to start your business? I'm in school now for medical billing. No, you don't have to be a medical biller. In fact, you see all these people in this picture right here? I can guarantee you that there's none of those people that have any background whatsoever. 95% of the people who come through our training have no background in the medical field. Now, how's that possible? Why is it that people think they have to go to some kind of school or take a course to become a medical biller? Because there's companies out there who are willing to take your money for you to do that. Usually, that's for you to get a job working for a doctor. If you're thinking about starting your own business, you don't need to know any of that because, folks, all the coding, for example, that you would learn in a medical billing code course is built into our system. All the ICD-10 codes are in there already, even though they won't be introduced until October 1st of this year. So all the ICD-9 codes are in there and the 10s. And so you don't have to know that. The doctors are the ones that are going to give you the codes. And if they don't know the codes, we have a service called CodeWrite, where we have certified medical coders that can give them the right codes to be billing with. And that's once they know the codes, that's it. They just need to know that one time. George says, can your system take on billing for hospitals? No. George, hospitals bill on a different form from that 1500 form that I showed you earlier. And besides, hospitals generally have their own system they've spent multiple thousands of dollars on. They have their own full-time staff for that, and they do 200 times the billing that a typical doctor does. So it's just not something that you would want to get into, that you even could get into if you wanted to. And it's not something that you want to take away from the hospitals. I know there are companies out there that say that they have a system that can allow you to bill for hospitals, and that's probably available if you can find a hospital that would turn it over to you. I just don't know of any hospitals that would do that. Lamar says, how do the licensees get access to the trade show booth? Well, it's real simple. On our licensee support website that we have for licensees, you log in and you go to marketing and then you go to trade shows and there's the booths. There's a form there that you fill out to reserve the booth for your use, and then you pay the shipping. We ship it to you, and then you ship it back to us. Christopher says, what turnaround time do most licensees guarantee to clients as to when their claims will be processed and submitted? Well, if you do what we teach you to do, Christopher, you will tell your clients that you will be doing the billing for them within 24 hours. In other words, once that you've gotten the information from the doctor, you will put that into the system, or they've put it in themselves through the electronic medical record system, and it's there. Within 24 hours, you'll submit the claims for payment. Now, the good news is that we can get that payment to the doctor a whole lot faster than they're normally getting them. Do you know that it takes some doctors 45 to 60 days to get paid through their current systems? Ours has a built-in clearinghouse. Now, let this sink in just for a moment. Those of you who looked into this business know that if you get into this business, you've got to set up with a clearinghouse. That's a company basically that takes all your data electronically, sorts it out for all the different insurance companies and Medicare, and they forward it on for you for a fee. Ours has that built in. So our turnaround time is an average of about 10 to 14 days. However, we've had licensees get the doctor paid within the week. That's right. They submitted the claim on Monday, got the money in the doctor's bank account by Friday. So it's a very fast turnaround. Well, guys, thank you very much for being on here. I do want to show you, let me pause this just for a second while you're looking at Rhodey's face there. And I'm going to get right to the end of these slides where I tell you about our money back guarantee, because for some people, they need some assurance that this thing is real and that they're going to be around a while, and they want to know that they could get their money back. So we have come up with a 100% full money back guarantee. And it says right in there, if at the end of the training workshop, for any reason, you don't think this business is right for you, simply tell any staff member and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. That's right. I will not keep one penny of your money if you decide for any reason this is not for you. Look, there's no weasel words in that guarantee. It's pretty straightforward. So folks, if this is for you, then I want you to be a part of what we're doing here at ABS. I'd love to have you at the next training. Get with your ABS rep. There's a phone number at the bottom of this next screen coming up. Call us. Say, I want some more details. I want to see some references. I want to see the live demo of your system. Ask all the questions you want. Our folks are not here to sell you anything, because, folks, we know that this business is not for everybody. Maybe it's not for you. All we want to do is give you all the information you need to make the right decision and do your due diligence. So thanks for being on the webinar. Be sure and be here next week. Every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Central Time, we have one of these live webinars, and we'll take your questions on most of those live, just like we did today. Thanks again for being here. Bye for now.